It began in shadows, in whispered corridors of power, where oil, politics, and ambition collided. In 1953, Iran was on the brink of transformation. A democratically elected leader had dared to challenge the status quo, and in response, the world's most powerful intelligence agency was about to intervene in a way that would echo across the Middle East for decades. This is the story of Operation Ajax, the CIA's secret coup that toppled Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad. This operation was designed to preserve Western oil interests and reshape the political landscape of the Middle East. In this video, we are going to explore the daring planning, the manipulation, and the long-reaching consequences of the CIA's most infamous covert operation. So, let's start. Iran, in the early 1950s, was a nation in turmoil. Prime Minister Mossadegh had been elected with overwhelming public support, promising reforms and the nationalization of the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. British interests, which had dominated Iranian oil for decades, were thrown into panic. Nationalization meant billions in lost revenue, a threat to global energy markets, and a challenge to Western influence in the region. Britain lobbied the United States for action. Fear of communist expansion in Iran only added urgency to the CIA and British intelligence. Mossadegh was more than a nationalist. He was a threat that had to be removed. Planning for Operation Ajax began in secret. The CIA, in partnership with Britain's MI6, crafted a strategy to manipulate politics, public opinion, and even the streets of Tehran. They recruited local agents, bribed officials, and orchestrated a web of propaganda. The operation was a delicate balance of deception and force. Every step had to be calculated. Failure would not only mean the loss of billions in oil revenue, but also a diplomatic nightmare, with the United States exposed as the manipulator of a foreign democracy. The plan was audacious. It involved toppling Mossadegh through a combination of political pressure, street protests, and the orchestration of military defection. The CIA funneled money to opposition groups, organized demonstrations, and spread rumors to sow distrust. Newspapers were bought or influenced. Propaganda leaflets circulated. Mossadegh's support among the military and the public was tested, challenged, and eroded in carefully timed waves. Every move was designed to create chaos, forcing the Prime Minister into a corner. The execution began in August 1953. Iranian streets became a stage 4 turmoil. Opposition supporters clashed with Mossadegh loyalists. Bribed police officers and military officers turned against the government at critical moments. The CIA operatives orchestrated demonstrations, strikes, and riots, giving the appearance of a spontaneous uprising. Behind the scenes, they bribed key figures within the military to prepare for a coup. Mossadegh, confident in his support, underestimated the scale and coordination of the operation. On August 19th, the coup reached its climax. Military units, previously promised loyalty by the CIA, moved decisively. Tanks rolled into Tehran. Mossadegh was arrested, removed from power, and replaced by General Fazlollah Zahidi, a leader favored by the West. In a single day, decades of nationalist momentum were crushed. Iran's oil industry was placed back under Western control, and the Shah, Mohammad Mossadegh, strengthened his rule with the backing of the United States and Britain. The consequences of Operation Ajax were immediate and profound. The Shah's regime, now dependent on Western support, became increasingly autocratic. Political dissent was suppressed. Iran's democratic experiment was ended. The CIA had achieved its goal, but at a cost that few in Washington fully anticipated. The operation planted seeds of resentment and distrust that would grow over decades, shaping Iranian perceptions of the United States and Britain as manipulative foreign powers. Beyond Iran, the coup sent ripples across the Middle East. It became a model for covert intervention, demonstrating the power of intelligence agencies to reshape nations without formal warfare. For the United States, it was a victory in the fight against perceived communist influence. But for the Iranian people, it was a humiliation, a loss of sovereignty that would eventually fuel revolutionary movements. The memory of foreign meddling lingered, contributing to the anti-Western sentiment that culminated in the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Operation Ajax also marked a turning point in the history of covert operations. It revealed the lengths to which intelligence agencies would go to protect economic and geopolitical interests. Bribery, propaganda, street manipulation, and military coordination all became tools in a playbook that would be used in other parts of the world. Yet it also showed the moral ambiguity of such actions. Democratically elected leaders could be removed, entire nations destabilized, all in pursuit of strategic advantage. Even today, the shadow of Ajax remains. It is studied in intelligence circles as a case of both remarkable ingenuity and profound ethical compromise. For Iran, it is a chapter of lost opportunity, a cautionary tale of foreign intervention and the fragility of democracy. The echoes of the coup still resonate in diplomacy, politics, and the collective memory of nations that have witnessed the reach of covert power. And yet, questions linger. How many other operations like Ajax have shaped the course of history in silence? How many governments have been subtly steered from behind the scenes, their people unaware of the forces manipulating their fate? Operation Ajax reminds us that sometimes the most consequential battles are not fought with guns and tanks, but with deception, influence, and the quiet hand of intelligence agencies pulling strings in the shadows.